Hello there, it's Tracy. Are any of you like me, standing in front of the fridge, not knowing what to cook today? And when I rummage through, all I find is a single head of cabbage and a few tomatoes. But don't get discouraged just yet, because with just those ingredients, I'm going to show you how to make a surprisingly delicious dish that goes perfectly with rice. You might think cabbage is only for boiling or making salad, but wait until you see how I prepare it today. I promise you'll change your mind right away. Even the kids in my house finish every bite when I make this dish, and they always say, "Mom, can we have this again tomorrow?" Make sure to watch until the end of the video to find out the secret behind why this dish goes so well with rice. Let's start by prepping the cabbage with me. To make this dish delicious, choosing the right cabbage when buying is pretty important. You should pick fresh cabbage that feels firm in your hand. Then, remove any damaged, bug-bitten, or wilted leaves, and keep only the fresh, good parts. Next, I cut it in half lengthwise. When cutting, remember to pay attention to the white core in the center. This part is tough and hard to eat, so I gently remove the core by cutting a V shape on both sides of the stem, then pull it out. Then I cut the cabbage into medium vertical strips, about 2 to 3 centimeters wide. Next, I turn it the other way and cut it crosswise. Now the cabbage is divided into small bite-sized pieces that cook quickly and absorb seasoning well when stir-fried. Cabbage is rich in vitamin C, vitamin K, fiber, and antioxidants, like sulforaphane, which helps reduce inflammation, boost the immune system, and improve skin health. Not only that, it's also an ideal food for people on a diet because it's low in calories but high in fiber, keeping you full longer and supporting digestion. So my family eats it quite often. Finally, I just use my hands to gently separate the cabbage pieces, and that's it. After the cutting is done, I place the cabbage into a large bowl, sprinkle in about 1 tablespoon of salt, then mix it well by hand so the salt can soak into each piece. Let it sit for about 10 minutes. This will make the cabbage softer, release water, and when stir-fried, it will absorb seasoning more easily and not release too much liquid into the pan. While waiting for the cabbage to absorb the salt, I move on to prepping the tomatoes. I usually choose evenly red tomatoes, with firm skin and a solid feel in the hand. That's a sign the tomatoes are sweet enough, low in seeds, and full of flesh. I avoid soft ones because they're often bruised or about to spoil. To make tomatoes easier to peel, I use a small knife to gently score an X at the top of each one. Then I boil a pot of water and blanch the tomatoes for about 30 to 40 seconds until the skin starts to loosen, and immediately take them out. This blanching method makes peeling easy, keeps the tomatoes' color and freshness intact, and is safer and cleaner than roasting directly over a flame. After the tomatoes are blanched in hot water and taken out, I let them cool for a few seconds, then gently peel the skin along the X-shaped cuts made earlier. Thanks to proper blanching, the skin comes off very easily without damaging the tomato flesh inside. Once peeled, the tomatoes look plump, with a clear, bright red color that's very eye-catching. Next, I use a sharp knife to cut the tomatoes into thin slices. Thin slices help the tomatoes cook faster and release their juices when stir-fried. Then I dice them as small as possible. Cutting them small helps the tomatoes soften quickly, blend easily with the other ingredients, and create a delicious sauce when cooked. After the cutting is done, I place all the diced tomatoes into a clean bowl and set them aside. And just like that, we've finished prepping the tomatoes. Now I'm going to prepare 3 chicken eggs and crack them into a clean bowl. To keep the eggs from smelling fishy, I add about 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, then beat them evenly with chopsticks in only one direction. Beating the eggs in one direction helps the yolks and whites blend smoothly, so they don't turn lumpy when cooked. I beat them until I see a light foam on the surface and the eggs become evenly thick, then set them aside. Next, I'm going to prep a few extra ingredients to bring a natural aroma to the dish, like scallions, ginger, garlic, and chili. Make sure all these ingredients are washed clean. First, for the scallions, I only use the white part at the bottom. Rinse it well and chop it finely. Ginger is sliced thin, cut into strips, then minced. Garlic is peeled, smashed with the flat side of a knife to bring out the fragrance, then minced finely. For the ripe chili, I choose red ones and slice them into thin rings. If you can handle spicy food, keep the seeds in to make the dish more flavorful. Once everything is ready, I place all the ingredients onto a small plate and set it aside. These simple ingredients will make the stir-fried cabbage with tomatoes richer in flavor, wonderfully aromatic, and full of appeal when served at the table. Back to the bowl of cabbage from earlier. After the cabbage has been salted for about 10 minutes, you'll see the leaves begin to soften and release quite a bit of water. This is a sign that the salt has been absorbed evenly, making the cabbage easier to cook and helping it stay crisp when stir-fried. However, since the amount of salt used at the beginning was fairly generous, if left as is, the dish could easily turn out too salty. To fix this, you need to rinse the cabbage with clean water 2 to 3 times, gently washing and squeezing to remove the excess salt on the surface. Let me know where you're from. I really want to connect with people from all around the world. After that, I pour the cabbage into a colander and let it drain thoroughly. You can gently squeeze it by hand if you want the dish to be drier when stir-frying. This not only helps reduce the saltiness, but also keeps the cabbage's natural crispness, making the final dish more balanced and flavorful. Now it's time to show off some cooking skills. First, place a pan on the stove, add a bit of cooking oil, and heat it until the oil is moderately hot. Then, pour the beaten eggs into the pan and let them sit without stirring or moving them around too much. Fry for about 2 minutes over medium heat, and you'll see the bottom of the eggs turn golden while the top just begins to set. That's perfect. At this point, use a spatula to gently stir and break the eggs into bite-sized pieces so they'll mix easily with the other ingredients while staying soft and smooth. Finally, I take the eggs out of the pan and place them on a plate, setting them aside. These golden, lightly rich eggs will be the highlight that makes the stir-fried cabbage dish more appealing and full of nutrition. Next, I put the pan back on the stove, add a little oil if needed, then add the diced tomatoes and stir-fry over low heat. At this point, there's no need to stir much. Just let the tomatoes gradually heat up and start releasing their juices. When the tomatoes begin to soften, I sprinkle in about half a teaspoon of salt. The salt will help the tomatoes release more juice and soften faster, creating a natural sauce for the dish. After the tomatoes start to thicken, I add all the prepared white scallions, ginger, garlic, and chili into the pan. Using chopsticks or a spatula, I stir everything evenly so the spices release their aroma and blend with the tomatoes to create a distinct fragrance. Just keep stirring for about 1 minute until the smell becomes clearly noticeable. That's when it's ready. At this point, the smell of tomatoes blending with garlic, ginger, and chili fills Tracy's whole kitchen. It's so fragrant that just smelling it makes you want to eat right away. When the tomatoes and spices have released their full aroma, I add the well-drained cabbage into the pan, turn the heat up high, and start stirring evenly by hand. High heat will help the cabbage stay crisp, not release water, and also help the tomato sauce coat each piece of vegetable evenly. You just need to stir quickly for about 30 to 40 seconds, and you'll see the cabbage start to absorb the red color from the tomatoes. It looks very eye-catching. Next, I add the scrambled eggs back into the pan and gently mix them with a spatula so the eggs blend with the vegetables and tomatoes without falling apart. At this point, you can add half a teaspoon of sugar to balance the sourness and a bit of light soy sauce if you like a richer flavor. There's no need to add more salt, because the cabbage was already seasoned earlier. If you add more, it might turn out too salty. Stir everything a few more times so all the ingredients blend together. Golden eggs, crisp green cabbage, bright red tomatoes, With a hint of green from the scallions and red from the chili, the dish is not only tasty, but also colorful and appealing. Finally, turn off the heat, transfer everything to a plate, and bring it to the table. And that's it. We've finished the stir-fried cabbage with tomato and egg dish. Simple, nutritious, and everyone who tries it absolutely loves it. If you've watched until now, you probably already know where the secret to this delicious dish lies. It's in how I handle the cabbage, tomatoes, and eggs, so they blend together, full of flavor while still keeping their freshness. This dish goes so well with hot rice, and if you enjoy it with a bit of light wine, it also pairs perfectly. The most wonderful thing is that this dish is extremely easy to make. Even those who are just starting to cook can succeed right from the first try. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. I hope today's recipe makes your family meal warmer and more delicious. Don't forget to hit subscribe to see many other useful tips. Wishing you a very happy, gentle day filled with sunshine beside your beloved family. Goodbye.